example number 1. Triangle ABC is labeled on your graph below, or to the right, I guess they mean. Rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees counterclockwise. And that's what we usually do in rotations, is we rotate counterclockwise, like this direction. Actually, let's make an arrow that goes like that. Then label that triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay, so for example, what we're going to do is take this shape and rotate it 90 degrees. So we're going to end up with a shape that looks like this, as if this were the x-axis and this were the y-axis. So you can already see where our shape needs to go just by moving your paper and taking a look at that. How do you plot it though? That's the question. So our original points are at 2, 0, at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, at 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is our original, or our pre-image, excuse me, our pre-image is our original ABC triangle. The way I do it personally is I like to move each point at a time separately, and I imagine that this is my starting point. This is my first axis. And I've really just moved this around 90 degrees to this point. So in order to get to this point from the origin, I go up the axis and or I go over, and then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just imagine that same mapping like that in the next axis. So as if I just turned my entire axis this way. So then I go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. That's A prime. To go to C, I just go up 2 and map it there. So I go up 2, 1, 2. To go to B, I go up 5, up the axis 5, and then into the quadrant 2. So I go up the axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the quadrant 2 spaces. Label all my spots, C prime, B prime. Now let's take a look and see if we're correct. So I have my triangle here. I really need to be using a straight edge, so I'm going to wing it at the last minute and use a piece of paper. I really like you to all use a straight edge as well. It's going to make such a difference in our graphs. Everything's going to look so much better. Okay, let's take a look and see if that triangle is correct. So this is the reflected image that I'm expecting to see, so let's get that in our memories. The triangle's corner is up on the axis, what should be the y-axis, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 2. And it looks like we have the same image here. So the triangle's corner is up on the y-axis, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 2. Okay, now rotate the triangle 180 degrees counterclockwise. So that means they want us to take our original image and rotate it 180. Well, that's the 180 is basically the direction or the like a line, a straight line. 180 degrees is flat like that. So we're starting on one side and rotating it all the way down to the other. So I'm going to take my x-axis and flip it all the way around, and I expect my image now to be in the third quadrant like this. Okay, so let's map it. So if this axis is my starting point, and I want to map point A over here, I know it's going to be in this quadrant. So from my starting axis, I go up 1, and then into the quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I'm going to go up 1 and into the quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Now notice an interesting thing that's happening here. This is A double prime. Okay, so the origin is my rotation point. If I were to draw a line from my pre-image point through my center of rotation, that line is actually going to cut right through to my new point. This isn't really useful for mapping it because you need to know exactly where it's going to be, and you might draw your point way over here. But it's really helpful to me when I want to check and make sure that I'm on the right track, that I have this all worked out spatially. Okay, so to map point B, I'm going to go up my starting axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into the quadrant 1, 2. So my starting axis is here. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into my quadrant 1, 2. Whew, that was hard. Okay, B double prime. So I have 2 of the points of my triangle, and I just need to get this last one, point C. So point C is thankfully so much easier. I'm just going up my starting axis 2 units. So that means I'm going up the other starting axis 1, 2 units. And look, I have my triangle, C double prime. Let's go ahead and connect our edges with a ruler or the edge of a folded piece of paper if you are Mrs. Reynolds. Please do take the time to make it as neat as you possibly can. It makes our geometry so pretty. Geometry is really something that can be zen and artful and wonderful if you just take the time and make it really nice. Okay, so remember, this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and then quadrant 4. So the last rotation asks for 270 degrees counterclockwise, so it wants me to take my pre-image and take it all the way around 270 degrees. Oops, degrees. This was 180. This was 90. So I know in the end, when I turn my axis 270 degrees, I'm going to have a triangle that looks about like this. Whoops, excuse me. That looks about like this. So my starting axis is going to be down here. Okay. So point A is up the axis 1 and then into the quadrant 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go up the quadrant 1 and up the axis 1 into the quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. I'm running into some interference here. That's A triple prime. Okay, B is up the axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into the quadrant 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. B apostrophe, apostrophe, apostrophe. And then our easy one is C. It's up the axis 2 units. 1, 2. C, 1, 2, 3. Okay, connect your new dots. And I believe we're just about done. You know, it'd be really cool to make all these triangles different colors. That'd be kind of neat as you're making them. I should have done that. Okay, Let's check and see what we've got here. So let's see if it rotates evenly. Cool, looks like it does. Look what we did, you guys. Nice work. Okay, thanks.